Hello, hello, hello. This is Jerry D from Tennessee. I'm going to look at installing CYGWIN, and then on top of CYGWIN, we're going to install GNU COBOL, because I want to do some tutorial videos just in case somebody's having problems getting started with GNU COBOL. I use it personally for keeping stored passwords and phone numbers and stuff like that. You could actually write your own menu system, old school green screen menu system. COBOL used to be the go-to for a lot of businesses to write their systems, their business logic systems. And there's still a lot of places that use COBOL today. So it's a useful language. I don't think it's dead in any way. A lot of banks use COBOL, a lot of financial institutions, so I think it's a neat language. I know there's other things you can use that have window GUIs and stuff, but there's also been people that's been writing COBOL programs using desktop GUIs as well. So you know, in the end, it's using the right tool for the right job, what you have available for, and what kind of makes sense for what you need to do. So anyway, let's get to business, and I'm going to put all the links, as always. I'll put links down below to these where I'm kind of getting this stuff from. Here's a screenshot of the CYGWIN home page. Let's install setup 8664. So let's just download this guy. Open it up. Really unrecognized app from starting. This app may be a little risk. More info. So Windows is trying to protect me from myself. I know this is CYGWIN, so I'm going to run it. I know what CYGWIN is, what you can do with it. It's just like a Linux environment for Windows, and it includes a lot of Linux tools. When you install it, you get a lot of ls and sed and awk and a lot of your Linux tools that you have on Linux. Particularly, I believe it's based off of Red Hat. It puts them on your desktop, so you can run a lot of Linux commands on your desktop. So I'm going to run anyway. All right. So cygwin.com, that's where we got this from. This is version 2.911, 64-bit at the time of this recording, December 29th, 2021. Next, I'm going to install from the internet. I'm going to just leave it default on this box for the default root directory. I'm setting it up for all users, so if somebody else logs into the box, they also have access to this. Just makes sense to me. I'm probably the only one that's going to be using this computer, but anyway, that's the way I'm going to set it up. That way, if somebody else eventually logs in, like my son or somebody, they have access to the same tools. So we hit next. This is where the local package directory is going to reside. That is doing a download for installation. I'm going to use a direct connection. Your setup may differ. You may be using a proxy, so Just use whatever makes sense for you. And then you just pick. I don't know if any one of these sites is better than others. Probably not. Probably not going to make a difference. I think they all sync the local changes. So I think I'm going to go with CYGWIN mirror constant. All right, so if you go to the CYGWIN website or GNU COBOL website, there's a list of requirements that you will need to install for Windows to run. Usually if you're installing GNU COBOL on the Linux box, you don't have to install. All the requirements are already there. So this is just additional packages that you want to consider. Well, actually, that you have to actually install GNU COBOL. For my purposes, I'm going to install everything. Let's see. Pop up here and tell me what this is. Sets all packages currently installed version. Keeps this equivalent to telling the setup not to make any changes to the package. Best. Sets all the packages to the best version available recommended. Okay, so we're going to keep best. Everything looks like it's set to install. And I'm installing everything because there's multiple things that I do with CYGWIN that I just like to have everything available just in case. So, hide obsolete packages. What's an obsolete? I want to leave that out. Let's hide obsolete packages. There's no use installing those, but I want to install everything else. Give me the full power of CYGWIN that they have available. So, next. Okay, so apparently it's got some issues with Perl. Okay. Accept the default problem solutions. Sure, why not? And there are a ton of different packages that you can install. All right, so I'm gonna let this run, and then we'll check back in here just a little bit. Okay, now I'm back. So CYGWIN, you should, if you selected to add the link to the desktop, you'll have a desktop icon. When you first open it up, it's going to run a script to create your home folder, your home directory. You can do a pwd, and that's the path in the environment where you're going to have your home directory. It'll be your login ID on the computer, possibly, or one that's composed of that ID. So let's look at something here for a minute. All right, so here's the path. For mine, it's going to be under C:/CYGWIN 64. Assuming that you downloaded the 64-bit version. Again, I probably should have mentioned too that if you install everything like I did, it's probably going to run for over an hour, the install. So I had to sit here and let it run, and I just went off. I mean, you just set it off and click on the options that you want to pick through the installer, and once it takes off, just go ahead and just go do something. Go wash the car, go wash the dishes, go wash the clothes, go spank the baby, whatever you need to do, and let it do its thing. Let the installer do its thing, and but it'll create a home directory, and that's where you're going to start out with every time. So what I'm going to do, there's a bash.rc file that we need to edit. Let me move this out of the way. There we go. So what do I need to do? Let's see. So you can edit it with Notepad. You can edit it with Notepad++ for all that matters. But you will have to change the line feeds to the Linux line feeds, because it's expecting the Linux endings, especially if you want to use VI. So VI dot bash rc, right? Yes. Now let's see what we got. So you can use the down arrows. Let me go with the full screen here. Will it mess it up? It might not. I don't know. Sometimes VI acts funny because it's set for like 80 by 24, and if you don't watch it, the editor will get confused on where you're at in the file. So okay, so looks like some alias instructions. If these aliases are enabled, they will be used instead of any instructions they may mask. For example, alias RMMI will mask the RM application to override the alias instruction. Use a slash before the IE. The RM will call the real RM and not the alias. So it looks like, let's see. So we're going to uncomment. And this is to protect yourself from running in run a command by accident. So let's see. Export history control, ignore dupes. Don't put duplicate lines in the history. So let's take this out. Let's go to rm-i. cp-i. Move -i. List SR. This one. And let's wince type A. Wince type A. Alias grep. Grep -- color. ls. Color TTY. I think that was files in color. All right, and directory is ls. Because in Windows you get used to doing dir, and this will just do the ls. If you accidentally type dir, it'll perform the ls command for you instead of the dir. I think dir would work anyway because that would be in the path, but I think this is going to override it, and it's going to do an ls since you're in the CYGWIN window. All right, so alias vdir ls -color auto format -long. Vdir ls color. Yeah, that's the one I want. LL equals ls minus L. LA is ls minus A. Alias L, ls minus CF. All right. So I'm going to add some additional. And all this is from instructions. I want to add in the comments a link to the instructions that they suggest when you install GNU COBOL. So go back over here, insert. Oh, wait a minute, I'm going to the wrong place. Go to the very end. And no, that's not what I want. Did I not copy? Okay, maybe this. Insert visual. Visual block. That's interesting. This version is not copy and pasting. Let's do this. Open up Notepad. Paste. edit, copy. Copy. Insert visual. That's kind of interesting. All right, so it's not letting me copy. Which is kind of wild. So those changes are there. Let's just manually enter it. I mean, it's just a few lines, right? I don't get that, though. I want to add one here, too. I wonder why. Copy. No, some reason. Wow. Windows 10 didn't have that. So text. Keys. Control, Shift, Insert. Right? Wait a minute. Let's look at that again. Have they changed something since I had the old one? Copy and paste, Control, Insert. Let's try Control, Insert. Oh, that's because that's checked. Okay. By default, let's turn that off. Okay, so if I do a Control, Insert, or Control, Shift, Insert. Bam, there you go. It took a Control, Shift, Insert to insert what I wanted to. All right. Sorry to drag you through all that mud. So, you have a SIG drive, which gives you access to extra drives. If you have like a D drive, you can say SIG drive D, and you'll go to the D drive, and then the path past that. So I've created a COBOL directory. I think for my examples, I'm going to, I'm going to work in my home directory. But I use VI, and the reason I use VI was so that I would have the line endings would be correct for Linux environment. COC program. See that most people will do a C/OC for Open COBOL. And what I've done is I've added an alias to go to COBOL. I want to CD the SIG drive. I could go to, go to SIG drive, C COBOL. So I have a COBOL directory in the root of my C drive. And I'm not decided yet. I think, like I said, I think I'm going to do a lot of my stuff in my home directory. I believe if I use that COBOL, I may use that for my production files. So, if you use Notepad++, you're going to have to run a DOS to Unix command on the file that you edit to get it back to the format that it is expecting. Windows use a control line feed and carriage return line feed, and Linux only does a line feed. So that's one difference between Windows, the way they do stuff. But other than that, this is going to work just like your command prompt. So if I hit the escape key now, that's going to get me out of insert mode. If I do a shift colon, and then down at the bottom, you'll see the colon appear. You say right quit. Explanation point means to save the file, all my changes. All right, so let's get out of this. I think options, background, green. I like green. No, that's not what I wanted. Options, background. Let's go back to black. Okay. Save. I want the foreground, I guess, is what I want to change. That's my bad. Or text. Is it text? Looks. Foreground theme. They've changed the looks of some of this. Let's see. Font and properties, select. There's no color there. Cancel. This color. Character set, placement. Let's go to the foreground. Make it green. Okay. Save. There you go is what I want. All right. So, that being said, we've got our terminal window. So, let's look at vi.profile. Let's scroll down here to this. Oh, insert into this. Let's do dot message. All right, so we do slash message. All right. Now, let's go back to messages.shell. ls vi shell insert Control Shift insert. And this will customize your window just a little different. Again, escape. Bring up the colon down at the bottom. Right click. Exclamation point. And now we have that. So now, let's exit and see what I have now. Oh, it didn't bring it up. Did I not? Maybe I didn't set my. Let's see. Message.shell. Oh, I may have to do this. You just do a Q, exclamation point, exit without saving. Let's change mode. I'm just going to be a little extreme. 777 full privileges on message.shell. Excuse me, that was a column. Comma, message.sh for shell. Bam. All right, so if I do a ls -la, message.shell has execute permissions. All right, let's exit again. Let's see what happens. Will it run? Huh, it didn't. That's what I should have got. Wonder if so that is fine. That's going to run. So I'm going to mention while I'm looking at this right here, users are currently connected. So if you have OpenSSH installed and somebody SSH into the box, it's going to tell you that somebody's SSH'd into the box. So right now, nobody but me is on this box. Let's see. Right. I think I had to do something else to get this to work like this too. Let me look at this again, this dot profile. Is it actually display messages? take that out and try it. No, I'll play with that. I might do another later on down the road. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. Okay, so let's see. I've changed that. I've talked about DOS to Unix. So let's download Open COBOL. GNU COBOL. So here's your download. Download the latest version. And let's see. Let's back this up. All right, all this stuff I want to install, I'm going to have links in here for you to access. And I lost my train of thought here where I was going with this. Just getting started. This is what I'm looking for. All right, so let's go to downloads. And what I want to do is I want to copy this into my home directory. Paste. Now, since I know this is what I've got, this is the download file that we just downloaded from the browser, and it ends up in your home directory under downloads. Or you can open up, you can tell the browser open up a window where it downloaded it, and it'll open up the window for you to access the file. But you copy that in here. So I want to change. Mozilla asterisk dot 7z. It's already got execute permissions, so all right, so let's tar xv zf, and then the name of the file, GNU COBOL, and this is version 3.1. 1.2 underscore win underscore src dot 7z. Okay, so let's move. Now pace is working. That's just kind of weird. From 7z to, let's call it GZ. Let's try the command again. Oh, excuse me. Details. Having a senior moment, folks. Okay, that didn't work. Well, we could do this. If you have 7-zip installed, bam, that just works. I'm trying to go by the instructions on the website. I mean, and again, I'm going to leave links to the website where you can go, but sometimes this stuff leaves a little bit to be desired. All right, so I did it the hard way. Well, actually, the easy way. I was trying to do it the hard way, and the hard way didn't work. All right, my apologies. So, okay. So you get this folder of files. So now we're going to have to there's some more commands I've got to run. So let's go out of this. Let's get out of this window because that's kind of going to be useless. We need to be under bash, a bash terminal. So let's cd, and there's a pretty neat trick. If you go GNU tab, it detects that folder, and you can just keep hitting tabs till you hit the right folder you want to go into. All right. CD GNU tab, my bad. All right, so we're under this folder now. So there's a program called configure. .ac, yeah, there's a program called configure. So if we do configure with -cc equals gcc-4, cc equals gcc-4, dash with dash GNU dash LD. And we'll go through here and we'll compile some stuff here and we'll see what we can do with it. Yeah, if you download WinZip, WinZip is a nice little tool. It's an open source tool that is nice to have. I believe I made that tar and that tar command worked before though, but maybe they've changed the flag. They may have done something different. Well, it downloaded instead of a GZ, it downloaded as a 7. The command's probably got to be a little different for it to work with the 7G or 7Z file. So anyway, that's what happens when you do this on the fly. I want to move some programs over that I'm running to this box, and I thought this is an opportunity because I'm gonna have to install GNU COBOL on this box to actually run the programs. As I thought, well, I might as well do a tutorial video. I've been meaning to do this for a while anyway, so far it's looking good though. It looks like the install's going. I think we're there. Okay, so now let's try make M-A-K-E. And then that's going to do some stuff. One thing about trying to do some of these videos, sometimes this stuff it don't go exactly like you plan, especially like that tar command I tried to run. That's that kind of threw me off for a bit, but that's all right though. We moved on. It's good to have multiple tools in your on your machine. That way, if one option doesn't work, you can try another option. But as you can see, it's going to run for a little while. It's doing a lot of stuff. I mean, this is a pretty involved package. I mean, you can do some real nice turnkey menus, and I'll do a video with an example on doing some of that stuff. But it's just nice. It's just, to me, this is one of the first languages I learned back in the 80s to use was COBOL, because everybody at the time when I went to school, COBOL was the thing that they told you needed to learn. COBOL was the big programming language of the time. Everybody was using green screens. Windows was fixing to go out and have a GUI desktop at that time, and Microsoft really changed things when they started going to the GUI. And what was the thing? The IBM. I can't remember what the operating system was. It's a Windows-like operating system that IBM had. That it was almost like an exact copy of how Windows looked. IBM did a real good job on it, but those products started having like the GUI boxes that we're used to now on home computers. And it's just amazing how things have changed. But start out with, when I first got into this, everybody was on green screen was where you were at. Even the home PCs had a command console that you went into. And a lot of even programs with graphics and stuff, a lot of the programs used to be text graphics, which we may touch on some of this. So this got done. Let's run make check. So I deal with this kind of stuff every day. I mean, we do a lot of stuff on Linux, and so there's a lot of command line stuff that I have to be able to do. And if you're going to have a career in IT, you need to be able to do some command line stuff and do some this kind of stuff, shell scripting and command line stuff, because you're going to eventually have to perform a task that you're going to have to write a shell script or a command line script or PowerShell script. There's so much out there. And if you're in a university environment like I am, you're doing everything. You're in Windows one day, you're going to be in Linux another day. You're writing shell scripts, you're writing bat files, you're writing PowerShell scripts, or you have a vendor that gives you a PowerShell script, and you're going to have to run the same. And it's just part of the job. It's part of it goes with the territory. If you're an IT person, if you're messing with computer software, the OS, or what have you, if you're an administrator, you're going to have to write shell scripts or programs that run in the command line that do things that might set permissions for users. You want to automate as much as you can. Anything you can automate where you have repetitive tasks that you run every day, you're better off if you can write a script or something that will do it for you and set all permissions and stuff, and it's doing the same. You have less chances of typo errors, mistyping your commands on the command line. And it's just smart way of doing things. I got tongue tied. Sorry about that. But anyway, so this is running a lot longer than what I remember from the older version of this. Yeah, I just kind of got used. I guess I have a love for green screen stuff. I by default, you saw that this stuff is going to turn your text is going to be black and white, and I like a little color. I mean, I've used yellow before, but yellow is awful bright, and it makes my eyes tired after a while. Green just I guess I'm just used to green. Plus, green's one of my favorite colors anyway. So this thing installs its own. It'll use its own database to do things. Actually, it's a database that gets installed with CYGWIN, but you could actually, if you want to use MS SQL, install the developer version of that on your box and play around with that. You can run SQL queries within your program to do updates on the database. Just pull the information off your screens and stuff. You can also do, if you install Oracle, the developer version of Oracle database on your box, you could do the same thing and just run SQL statements every time you want to update the database, and that works too. There's different options you can use with this COBOL stuff. You can pull in XML files, insert them into a database. There's a lot of stuff you can do. I had a C program one time that was that took an XML file, and I made the C program took an XML file and created SQL inserts to insert into a database one time, just reading the XML file. And sometimes if you're an IT person, you've got to do crazy stuff like that to get stuff to work. To fix a problem with data or something like that, you might want to do updates where you read an XML file and you're running inserts into a database off the XML file. We have two departments that don't allow databases to connect to each other. So they don't allow us to have access to the database, and for good reason. Is they have HR information, they have payroll information on the same database server. So they export just text files in XML form, and we have to read in the XML. Or sometimes it's tab delimited files or space delimited files. You get them in different formats, and there's a lot of places that do stuff like that. And again, that's why I'm stressing these are good skills to know, to be able to read these text files and make use of the data, change the data. And one of the things that CYGWIN does, it gives you some tools if you have text files like that. If there's any issues with the file, you have to change some text, you can globally change one text to another's text string. And it's just, there's so much power in some of this stuff. And my guess is, and I'm not a PowerShell expert, I've played around with some PowerShell scripts in the past, but I'm not one that can just sit down and write a PowerShell script from scratch. I'll have to go out and get an example or read some help docs on PowerShell to write the script, because I don't do it every day. If I did it every day, it would probably be second nature to me. I'm more of a Java developer. I have an application that's written in Code Fusion that I support. You know, I do JavaScript kind of stuff. So, you know, and there's nothing wrong with doing Google searches and finding examples, you know, on how to do something in a certain language. That's how you learn in the long run. That's how you learn. Man, this thing's taking longer than I thought it would take. Most of you folks have probably sped up the video just to get past this part. I should have stopped the recording as soon as I set that off, but I didn't expect it to run as long as it is. That's okay, though. That's all right. At least you got a video example of what you should be seeing if you're going through this install yourself. I guess maybe that's a good reason to have all this on video, just so you'll know. Oh, okay, I'm at least I'm doing this stuff right. You're not wondering, well, did I do something wrong, or is this doing what it's supposed to do? So at least you got to have a point of reference if you're installing this. CYGWIN took a while because it's got to go through all the packages. It's doing checking like this on packages for C and C++ and just different things that it installs and verifies everything's okay, and then it compiles what it's got to compile. It's just does so much. The install was over an hour installing everything for CYGWIN. But there's so much there you can do. If you take a C class or a C++ class or a Perl class, you could do your homework on your desktop or laptop with that environment. Now, granted, if depending on the environment that the university that you're at has set up, I mean, there's so many. There's Ubuntu, there's Red Hat. There's just so many different flavors of Linux and Unix. They could be running AIX on an IBM box, you know, and you got to take in consideration that those different environments, there will be differences in syntax, and if there's any tools that you're trying to use, like sed or awk, the switches for those tools may change depending on the environment that you're in. So you need to read the manual files and see what the flags you have available and what you can do, because there are differences when you get in different environments like different OSs. There's going to be some differences in your syntax for your commands and stuff that you're going to use. Man, this thing's running for a while. So I think this is the longest part of the check. I mean, the check is the longest part of this install process. No, that's not considering the install for CYGWIN. But the reason I installed for CYGWIN, like I said, I installed everything. I mean, I could have just looked and picked and choose, from a list of what I wanted to install just for COBOL. But I want as much utility in my CYGWIN install as I can get out of it. I want to be able to run bash scripts or whatever, test scripts, and I might move over to a Red Hat server. I've set up a command and run tests on my box, and got it working on my box in CYGWIN, and moved the scripts over to Red Hat, and it works perfectly. You might have to change some paths doing it that way. You might have to have just a test path that you have for your box, but once you get it working on your box, you just take WinSCP, connect to your Linux server, move your scripts over, and bam, just drop them where you need to drop them, and they're ready to go. Yeah, I've been on several environments. I've been on AS400, AIX, Wang system. That's been a long time since I've been on a Wang system. That was a word processing system that had a turnkey, kind of like the very first like Apple IIs that come out. AppleSoft had turnkey systems, turnkey menus, and you can do similar menus. You can do menus that look almost identical using shell scripts and COBOL, and do the same thing that Apple did with their AppleSoft stuff. A lot of their stuff was written in AppleSoft Basic. I used to know a little bit about AppleSoft Basic. I actually bought some accounting software from a company. It ran on AppleSoft, and I opened a ticket with the company, the vendor, and it took them like a year to get back to me. And before they called me back to help me with the problem, I went in and I noticed it was all written in BASIC, and I just walked through the code just visually through an editor, and looked at the code, found where it was saying it had a problem, and fixed the error. It was just a typo in the code, and under a certain situation, the program would crash when you performed a certain function in a certain situation. So they called me back, and they asked me, they said, "You still have your problem with our software?" And I said, "No, I fixed it." "How did you do that?" I said, "I looked at your code." "What do you mean you looked at our code?" I said, "I looked at your program." "You can't look at our program." I said, "Yes, I can. It's right there. It's all text files. It's just written in BASIC, AppleSoft Basic." Oh man, they were like, "Why did you look at our code?" I'm like, "Because I had a problem and you weren't calling me back, and I wanted to get it fixed so I can continue to use the software. I like your software. It just crashed the program when it did a certain thing happen, and it was actually there was a counter that went out of bounds. That it was looping through records, and it could go out of bounds if after you got so many records in your ledger, and the program would just crash. And I just upped the limit on the index for the it was using a matrix. Yeah, it was an array in memory, and I just upped the number to allow it to use more memory to go and have hold more records. And once I did that, the program was fine. But they're like, "Can you send us our fix, the fix that you put in?" I've said, "No, and I sent you guys where the problem was at. One of your developers could look at the error and can find it fairly quickly because it tells you exactly where it's at." I said, "I'm confident your developers can go look at that program." I went to school to write programs myself. I told them, I said, I am confident that your developers can look at my ticket, look at that error number, and go straight to where the problem's at and fix the problem." I said, "Okay, well, sorry we didn't get back to you in time." But yeah, they were just like out of the, I guess it's just a small company. They just had very few people, so that's probably why they probably had a lot of calls because of that program crash and that bug. But it is what it is. I mean, anytime you write code, you're going to have bugs. You're going to have problems. I saw a few errors throw up while I was rambling on. No, I saw a few things. Yeah, what is that? Run file. Index file would lock automatic too. I think that's throwing the wrong error. I think it was supposed to be an expected failure. The one up above is sequential file with sharing read only. I think they forgot to check for that error, and that was supposed to be an expected error as well. Index undeclared keys, skipped, run file. Yeah. Man, this is running a lot longer than I thought it would run. I'm already an hour into this. If it runs for too much longer, I may just have to stop the video and just have to edit this out. It might be the right thing to do. Some people, I don't know, some people may want to see this run just to verify that everything's looking all right to them, though, too. Sometimes I like to see something in execution and have some validation that it's going, that everything is working the way it's supposed to. COBOL 2014. Obsolete 2002 keywords. I may have to recheck some of my old code against this, because some of it may not be compatible. I don't think anything that I'm using is going to be marked as obsolete, though. Java does that a lot too. They deprecate stuff. I guess all your languages are evolving, though. All right, finally finished. All information, test suite log. All right. Let's do a make install. Bam. Boy, that was quick. All right, so all right, let's try this. COBC. Let's look and see if I had to do anything else. I don't think so. Go COBC-V. So it tells me that it's GNU COBOL 3120, built December 29th, 2021, packaged December 23rd, 2020. This is December 29th, 2021. All right, so there you go. It's installed. So anyway, I think if nothing else, CYGWIN should be in your toolbox if you are a IT person. Move this over here. If you're an IT person, because it just gives, especially now, I guess that being said, that's if you're going to be in or working in Linux from time to time. Sometimes it's good to be able to have another environment on your Windows box to allow you to work on bash shell scripts if you're working on Red Hat or something, and try your scripts out somewhere. A lot of places will have a test server though that you can log into. Let's see here. What I want to do I'll show this to you. So I have a GitHub account, and I have a few things here on GitHub. Save link as. Let's go to C. CYGWIN home. And let's just save this here. Let's save this one. Save tic-tac. Let's save, compile. One of them must compile. I believe I got one that does a command to compile DLLs versus the other one. It's just an executable file. Let's see. I have changes to the profile there, but I've already made a change to that. That just didn't work exactly right. And I don't know what's different about this version of CYGWIN. I'll have to do some research for that. Did it download Eliza? Listen, this downloading Eliza. Menu.shell. Yeah. Did I download Renum? Yes, I did. Tic-tac, welcome. I think that's all I'm going to mess with right now. All right, so there we go. My hub, I have a hub, and it just has a problem dragging between 3 screens. It fights me. I don't think it's my mouse. I think it's the fact that the translation between the Windows and the OS, it takes it a second to figure out which screen I'm pulling something over to. I don't think the driver for this hub is completely I don't think it's all there yet. Okay, so what was I going to look at now? Let's look at let's see. I'm just going to set everything to 777 *.cbl. Oh, wait a minute. I can't do that. Where am I? It's important to remember where you're at. All right. Now. So the // backs out a directory. I backed out 2 directories. So the PWD is place where directed. So I'm still, you can see home, jfarrell's my root. So now let's retry my command I just tried. This one. Do the same thing with anything that's a shell. All right, so let's try this. COBC -x welcome .cbl. Maybe I don't need to do it that way. Okay. Words. Okay, let's do a VI welcome .cbl. What is it complaining about? What is it not liking? Oh. Okay, it downloaded the web page. All right. So, okay, so that's kind of interesting. So here's what I thought it was going to do. Oh my word. So, come on now, quit fighting me. Go back over here. So I thought by right clicking and downloading it was going to do that. So let's go back. Let's go back to here. Let's go here. Copy raw contents, copy. Let's see how that works. All right. Let's get out of this and quit without changing it. And let's VI welcome. Welcome to .cbl. Insert. Will it paste? No, I have to do a control shift insert. What happened? It didn't like it. Insert. Oh, it quit the insert after it's pasted it. All right. So let's try welcome to that run. So if I say now, welcome to .exe. No, it didn't like it. I'm gonna have to change my environment to look at my directory. Really? Oh, that created a DLL. Oh, and that wouldn't work either. All right. Let's go back to Houston, we're having some technical difficulties. So I do need COBOL-X. This will compile. So COBOL-X is going to give me the executable. Welcome to .execute. You can see right here that it just created it right here. So now, there you go. It worked. If I do the .exe, I don't think you have to have the .exe. By default, that is an executable file, so it's going to do the same thing. Now, the way this takes in a, does it take in a variable? No. No, it didn't. And I could probably do, I had it open, but yeah, it doesn't have an accept. You could say accept name string name. You still have to set up something in the data division or the environment division to take in a parameter, but you could take that parameter, you can actually make this print out a name. So anyway, it was a little rocky. I'm sorry that it got a little long-winded. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I may edit some of the long pieces out. But you went from not having an install to a full-blown GNU COBOL install. I've compiled a sample program to welcome you to GNU COBOL, and all is good. I'm gonna have to fix some files. I'll have a follow-up video, and so part of the problem was between the operator and the keyboard, so to speak. But if you download my source code, I have sample programs. Well, now that we've compiled one, let's like compile Eliza. Well, it's tictac.cobol. Let's do that. So you can use the up arrow to break back your previous commands, and then you can just modify them. tictac.cbl. If I could just, because I hit the insert key a while ago, it's acting differently than from what I'm used to. All right. Oh, it's because it didn't download right. All right, I'll do another video with these others. I need to fix these files that I've downloaded. I probably need to do a video on the correct way to pull down my files off of GitHub. Yeah, I think that would be a good thing to do. And we'll go from there. But at least it's installed. You can see that the welcome to actually prints welcome to GNU COBOL. Let's see, vi 2.cbl. And there you go. That's what the program looks like. Looks like VI realizes this is a COBOL. It almost looks like it just detected it was a COBOL program. You could write a program in VI. It's once you learn the syntax of COBOL, you can use any kind of text editor to create your program. But this is in a standard format for the COBOL. this little space here between identification division and the number, this is your line numbers, and this is actually your program code from position 8 over to, I think, up over to 72, I think is the limit for the line. And then if you put an asterisk, it's been a while since I've wrote COBOL programs. I've got stuff I've had for years that I just recompile and reuse, and I've not had to write one in particular in a long time. But you put an asterisk in this column here in column 7, and then it will treat that as a comment, and it will not execute or compile that line. It will be a comment. And you'll see in some of my stuff that's what I've done. So I'll put links to my GitHub repository. Sorry this was all long drawn out stuff. I may leave all the messages and stuff where we were doing the make check in there. And some people might, I expect a lot of people will probably speed through. I may shorten it. I don't know. Some people get impatient and they would just quit watching the video. Maybe I just need to put a message saying I'll shorten this section to just keep the video shorter. So, all right. So maybe I'll do that. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. I appreciate everybody that stuck with me this long. Sorry it was such a rocky install, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, I started the first one, installed CYGWIN was probably the longest part of the install because it ran probably close to 2 hours, if not longer. And you got to go back and check on it because some messages might pop up and that you have to acknowledge when you install CYGWINs. But here I have a working COBOL environment. I can write COBOL programs. I can take old COBOL code, even COBOL sample programs from Rosetta Stone, and yeah, I can do you can do all kinds of neat stuff with it. I like it. It's fun. I have a few programs I like to use that I want to keep around, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm installing it on this box. I'm going to probably install it on a couple other boxes. I have a password keeper that I keep passwords in. If somebody gets on your box, they have no clue. If you use this password program I'm using, they have no clue that you have passwords stored. You could place the database anywhere you want to on your box. You can hide it anywhere. Name it anything you want to name it. And they will have no clue where you have your passwords. And it's encrypted. The passwords are encrypted in the database. So that being said, I've not put that up on GitHub yet. I think I want to make a few modifications to it before I put it on GitHub, because right now the code I have is what I use for my personal stuff, and I'm probably going to change the pass key for the program to something else, and with the source code, you folks will be able to compile it to use your own pass key, whatever you want to set it to. But anyway, this we finally got through the install, and an hour and 26 minutes. That's after installing CYGWIN. So probably about 3 or 4 hours I've been working on this today. Anyway, but it's working. So, anyway, I appreciate you hanging out with me and watching me mess with this, and hopefully this will help somebody. I may put the long version out first. I think I will put the long version out first, and then I may shorten. I'll make a shorter version later. I'll cut up the video and take some of the longer parts that don't need to be in and take them out. But anyway, I hope everybody had a good Christmas, and I hope everybody has a good New Year. And hopefully this is going to be a series of some videos that I'm going to do concerning CYGWIN or GNU. Yeah, CYGWIN and GNU COBOL, and some tutorial stuff. I'm going to be going through some different types of programs and stuff, looking at some different things. So thought it'd be something I could leave. I'm getting close to retirement, and maybe I could leave for a future IT people to view and look at and play around with. And some of the stuff you might use this GNU COBOL for a tool to do some stuff. So anyway, we'll find out what we can do with it, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. So hope everybody has a good night, and we'll catch you in the next video. Thank you. Bye. Hey, thanks for coming by. Glad you checked out the video. I hope you liked it. If you like it, please click on the like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel. May God bless you, and I hope you have a good day. Bye. Bella's got to be right up under me, don't you, Bella? Oh, my word. Cloudy day, looks like it may rain. Clouds out over the valley. East Tennessee Valley. And Bella, she's just happy to be around.